All right, testing, testing, testing. If you guys can hear me clearly, type Y in the chat box. If you can hear me clearly, type Y in the chat box. Fantastic. Welcome, everybody. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Brandon Ivey. I am a global with Shopping Sherlock, and I'm logging in from Los Angeles, California, and it is hot today. I think up to 90, 95 degrees where I live. So winter for us is officially over, as if it ever really begun in Los Angeles. But thank you for taking time out of your schedule to be here tonight. We're going to be doing a quick training. We're not going to be here long tonight. So I'm talking about Bob down in Florida. It's kind of the same as California or Southern California weather, except we don't have the humidity that you guys have. That's one thing I never really got used to. That humidity makes a big difference. 87 degrees can feel like 95 or 100 with humidity. So tonight we're going to talk about getting started in your business and doing your part. See, one thing that you need to understand about network marketing, there is no secret sauce. There is no secret formula. It is just doing things on a consistent basis until you see the results, doing it long enough. But there are some basic things that you have full control over. See, one thing that's what's different between us and a job. On a job, you're really primarily responsible for yourself, your actions, and what you do. You're getting paid off of your efforts, kind of, because you're on salary or weekly. But in a home-based business, to be able to make the big-time money requires a collective effort. There is no I. No one person can do it. It takes a team to do so. Unfortunately, we cannot control other people. Unfortunately, you can't control other people. Most times you feel like, man, if other people just put in the same type of effort that I put into my business, we'd all be rich. Have you ever had that feeling that you wanted it more than the people you signed up? It's like they won't get off their butt to do anything. And we all feel that way at times. And at times, other people have felt that way about us. But we have no control over what other people do. All we can do is lead by example and continue to talk to people until we find the people who do the things that they're supposed to do. It's a numbers game. It always has been. It always will be. No matter what company you're in, it will always be the same. So what we're going to talk about is making sure you do the things you do have full control over. Because if you do the things you have control over and you're able to duplicate that with the people on your team, of them doing the things they have control over, everybody walks off their job. I didn't say it's going to be easy, but it is a simple process. So you've paid your $249. You're excited. You're in Shopping Sherlock or whatever business you're in. You're ready to get started. What do I do next? Well, what you do next is you plug into the system. Plug into the system. Without the system, you're not going to have long-term success. You may have short-term success, but not long-term success. And what I mean by long-term success is the ability to duplicate yourself. Because if you want to be a 4- and 5-figure a month earner consistently, you got to have teams in the hundreds and the thousands of people on your team. Now, there's only 24 hours in a day. You're only one person. You got started in a home-based business so that you can have more time on your hands, not less. You want to get back that 40 hours in a week, not spend 80 hours in a week. So instead of you doing all the work, we have a system in place so that every new person who gets started gets the same amount of training, the same amount of information as you do. So the last person coming in gets the same training as the first person who got started. This is not trickle-down learning. This is straight from the horse's mouth. So plug yourself into the system. And you want to make it a priority that every single person on your team is plugged into the system. A lot of times I can tell whether a person is having success or will have success just by looking at what they are doing and their team is doing. Here's the first 4 websites you should be familiar with. CEOstraining.info. That website plugs you into our mailing list. We send out an email update on what's going on every single day. My millionaire mentor, he cringes at this. He's like, you mean to tell me you need to send an email to remind people what's going on in their own business? He says it just like that. He says, you mean you have to be the secretary so that people know? And he understands. I know his point. Because the people who make the most money don't need to have their hand held, don't need to be reminded. When I got started for the first time, I had a folder. I had my schedule out on my folder. I had all the websites that I needed to know about, all the times, the webinars I needed to know, the telephone numbers of the people on my team I needed to talk to. I had all of that at my fingertips. I never missed a meeting because I didn't get an email reminding me of when a meeting was. However, I do understand that a lot of people who join the network marketing business for the first time, they've never owned their own business before. They're coming from a 9-to-5 job mentality where they're told what to do. They've never had that real initiative to just get out there and do it on their own. And so sometimes it's a learning curve. It takes time to transition from that old mindset into the new I am the boss mindset. So I help you out a bit. I will send an email update out every day on information that's already posted on our websites. And we're going to figure, as technology changes, the next thing we're going to move into is not email updates, but text updates, because people don't read their emails. Here's one way I know why. Every new person that gets started, we send them a welcome email with steps to follow. And I would say only 10% of the people who get that welcome email actually read it and follow the instructions. And I know this because I'll get a phone call. Hey, Brendan, I got a question on this. Did you watch the video from the welcome email? What welcome email? When you first got started, I sent you a welcome email. Oh, yeah, I remember that. Did you follow the instructions on it? Come on, let me go. Well, can you send it to me again? People don't follow instructions and don't read. So the next, because we're in technology, we're looking into doing it through text. Only problem is the programs that are currently out there right now are very expensive. So it may be another 6 months before technology advances some more, that price starts to come down and we can do it on a feasible level. But for now, that keeps you informed. CEOstraining.info. Also, not only do you want to be there, but you want everybody on your team to be there, because I don't have the email address of the people you sign up. So if they're not on that website, if they haven't registered, they're not getting information directly from me. So here's the question. Do you want the people you sign up to work directly with me, or to get secondhand information through you? Easy question. If you want them to work directly with me, which I advise, you want everybody on your team plugged in. The next website you should know about is powerteamsherlock.com. I spent a lot of time putting this together. Everything you need to know about the business from A to Z. Every question you could possibly have, all the answers are on that website. When I first got started, there's something that I did. I went to the homepage, shoppingsherlock.com, and I clicked on every single link possible. I wouldn't go to bed till 2 or 3 at night, because I was reading every single bit of information I could get my hands on. I clicked on everything. I'm not the type to pick up the phone and call my sponsor to find out, what's this, what's that? No. I'm an adult. I click on everything first. And then if there's something that I just can't find, then I'll call and ask. But that's me. That's not everybody else. But we created the Power Team Sherlock website that gives you step by step from everything Those who say, I need to do more research on the industry, on the company. We've done that research for you and documented it. We've got recordings of all our trainings from when we first started in the business. I think you'll first see videos on there from end of July or September of 2013. So you can actually see our progress from when Power Team Marketing first joined Shopping Sherlock. You can kind of see our very first presentation videos and how they've changed from then till now. I was doing that the other day. I was watching. I was like, whoa, we came a long way. In fact, looking back at it now, the company is not the same today as it was when we first got started. And we were excited back then. Looking at where we are now, it's amazing. But everything you need to know, and that's not a website that you're going to be able to sit down in just one day and go through. It's like a university system. It's an ongoing learning on it. Another website is teamofhope.com. That is by Diamond Chuck Williams. That's his blog. He does a very, very good job of putting that together. Teamofhope.com. In fact, you can even go back to his blog from the beginnings when he first started. All the way back. He's got it broken down by months. And he has a schedule of events on there as well, and everything that you need to know. Another website I don't have on here, but I would advise is SherlockGlobalAcademy.com. I'll put that in the text right here. www.SherlockGlobalAcademy.com. Now, that's a whole system. There is a capture page you can use, but that one costs money. To use the capture page system and all the behind-the-scenes training is like $99 one time. But you can register there for free, and at least you'll be on Simon's email list. Simon Brooks, the #1 money earner in the company. So that you can keep tabs on what's going on in the UK, what's going on in Kazakhstan, what's going on in Sweden and Israel and in Germany. And from directly from the #1 guy in the company. Also, he on that website is the training manual, the Getting Started training manual. I also include that on every welcome mail as well. It's a handbook that you can follow step by step on that. It's very generic. Another marketing arm for you, this should be your workhorse. And I don't promote this as much as I should because I haven't updated it to my likings just yet, but it's good enough right now to use. It's called SherlockPresents.com. You're brand new. We don't want you going out there trying to explain this business to people. I mean, even though it's a simple concept, because they're going to start asking you questions that you may not be able to answer. So the best way is to just show them videos. So SherlockPresents.com starts off with, I think it's like a 2 or 3 minute video. And if people want more information, they just click on the link below the video. Takes them to the second page where it talks about the Sherlock products. They want more information. They like what they see. They click on the button below that. It takes them to the third page, which talks about the compensation plan. Has multiple compensation plan videos. And they like that. They want even more. They click to the fourth page, which tonight I'm going to be recording a brand new Sherlock presentation. Probably be maybe 15 to 20 minutes long with the new slides I've been using since this past week. And it's a full presentation that somebody can watch. So you can take somebody from A to Z, from beginning to sign up, just on the SherlockPresents.com. It's a generic website. There's no capture page to it. There's no capturing anybody's email. There's no links where they can go to sign up in the business. So everybody can use it to promote, to help them build their business. So that is plugging into the system. Once you plug into the system, you want to schedule your grand opening ASAP. In fact, you want to have 2 of them. One is called an emergency grand opening, and another one is a scheduled grand opening. Well, grand openings is basically a Sherlock presentation. There's a 15-minute one Monday nights. There's 2 of them on Tuesdays and Thursdays. And then there's one on Sundays with Chuck Williams. Those are the scheduled grand openings. Those are the ones that you know, when you get started, let's say you get started on a Monday. Say, okay, I'm going to schedule my scheduled grand opening for Thursday night. That's for Brandon Ivey, Thursday night at 9:30 p.m. Eastern. So now you have between Monday and Thursday to invite as many guests as possible to that presentation. And what I would advise is that you do 3 ways to confirm that your guests will be there for Thursday. You do 3 ways with me. I will confirm that they're going to be there. The emergency grand opening is what you're going to do within the next 24 hours after you first get started. It's not a scheduled one. You get with your sponsor or myself, and we can do either a conference call or a private presentation with you and your short list of people that you can rally together within 24 hours. You're very excited. You just got started. You've got to put your team of generals together, and that's exactly what you're going to say to them. I just got started in this business. I'm putting together my generals, my board of directors together. You're one of the people I want to have on that list, so I want to expose you to this business. You need to get onto this call tonight. Don't ask me questions. You're going to get it all. It's going to be 15, 20 minutes. Emergency one. I'll give you an example of how I did this. When I first got started, and this was with my last company, we merged over into Sherlock. It was a Friday night. It was at 5 p.m. Pacific. I did my 3-way call with the top leaders at 3 p.m. I signed up at 5 p.m. And the only reason why I signed up at 5 is because I was at work at the time, so I had to wait till I was off of work so I can go onto the website and sign up. I immediately had an emergency conference call. Didn't have a webinar. I had a conference call. This was Friday night. I invited over 200 people. Okay, so Brandon, how did you invite over 200 people? Where did these 200 people come from? I pulled out my list of contacts, and I either shot them texts, emails, or I called them up. And this is what I said. Hey, I just got started in something that's hot. I'm having an emergency conference call tonight. You've got to be there. It's only going to be 15 minutes. Don't ask me any questions. You got to be there. Here's the number. Call in. I'm on the move. I'm making things happen. I invited 200 people that way. I didn't say the name of the company. I didn't say the compensation plan. I didn't talk about the products. It was just my sheer excitement. I told people, I'm making moves. You're either going to make it with me or without me, but at least I can say I let you know I was doing something. I'm inviting you to come take a look. Out of the 200 people I invited, 40 showed up on the conference call that night. Now, when you look at the number, that's like a failure, right? 160 people said no. Not only did they say no, they didn't even show up. 160 people. This is called compress your time frame. Most people won't even talk to 200 people in a year. I did it within 2 hours. 40 people showed up. Out of the 40 people who showed up, get this, really get what I'm about to say here. 25 of them said no. I don't like it. It might be a scam. It's not going to work. I'm doing something else. I don't believe it. They said no. So I already went through 160 people who didn't even show up. And out of the 40 who showed up, 25 said no. But the rest, 15, signed up in the business. My first night in the business, 15 people. But I kept it going because next I had a scheduled webinar 3 days later. It was on a Monday. I spent the entire weekend learning everything I possibly could about the business, clicking on every single site, looking at all the training websites, watching all the videos I can get my hands on. I didn't even call asking questions. I didn't start asking any questions until probably Monday or Tuesday. I was focused on learning and putting my board of directors together. I learn as I go. So my first scheduled webinar, grand opening, was on a Monday. And then I had something every day of the week, my first week in the business. So by the following Friday, Those 15 people turned into 40 on the team. So now my first week in the business, we had 40 people on the team. Not all 40 did anything. Not all of the first 15 people did anything. Only 20%. And this goes for no matter what business you're in, 20% of your team will do anything on. And this is after you already have them in the business. So if you got 100 people on your team, 20 of them may do something. 3 of them out of that 20 will take it serious. 3 out of 100. It's always a numbers game. Doesn't matter how great your business is. So first week we had 40. At the end of the first 30 days, those 40 turned into 137. 137. I still did not fully understand the compensation plan, but I was already doing the presentations because all I had to do was follow the slides. I didn't have to understand it. I just followed the slides. It may sounded like I understood it, but I didn't. I didn't wait. I didn't hesitate. I didn't need my hand held. All I knew was I want to walk off my job, and this is going to make it happen. Our first 60 days, those 137 people turned into 507. We were still running on sheer excitement. We're enthusiastic about it. And we talked to as many people as we possibly could. Momentum was being generated. 2 weeks after that, so 2.5 months in, I already had 1,000 people on the team. We went from 500 to 1,000, added 500 people in 2 weeks. By the end of 90 days, a little over 90 days, I gotta go back in my records, but I think we had close to 2,000, maybe 1,800 people, a little after 90 days. All started from the first 15, my first night in the business. My income was over $12,000 a month. I still didn't understand the compensation plan. I said, I'll understand it when I get paid. Because here's one thing that I know. It doesn't matter how great the compensation is. If you have absolutely no production taking place, you don't get paid. So whether I understand the comp plan or not doesn't matter if I'm not growing my business, if I'm not growing my team. Another person got started the same day I did. And he took the opposite route. This person said, oh, I need to know everything before, I have my grand opening. Before I start talking to people, I got to investigate, the owner a little bit. I've got to, really understand the comp plan and test out the products and blah, blah, blah. You play it safe. There's nothing wrong with that. And he was finally ready to go 3 months later. 3 months later, I was at the second highest position in the company. I was at $12,000 a month, and he hadn't signed up one person yet, talking about, okay, I'm ready to get started. You choose how fast you want to go. You have control over that. It's not about how great you are. It's not about how great of a speaker you are. You know why? Because in this business, you utilize somebody like myself. I do all the talking for you. I don't have somebody like that for me. My upline is the CEO. I use the CEO, I use Chuck Williams, I use Simon Brooks. But the CEO is massively busy all the time, so it's not like I can just get him at the drop of a hat anytime I want to. But you guys don't have that problem. You don't have to be the greatest speaker. Utilize your upline. Utilize us. All you have to do is go through the numbers. You can ask yourself right now, you don't have to put in the chat box, but this past week, how many people did you expose to your business? And that is why you haven't signed anybody up this week. It's a simple game. That's all it is. The second thing you're going to do after you schedule your grand opening is going to solve problem number 2. Sign up 2 new people and get promoted to star affiliates. You want to do this your first week in the business. Sign up 2 new people. And then you want to acquire 200 Sherlock invites. I didn't say 200 Sherlock downloads, but in your first week in the business, you want to invite 200 people that you know to look at the app. It's a numbers game. Even if just 10% actually download it, that's 20 Sherlock customers. Let's say those 20 Sherlock customers are actively using it. That's over $40 a month in residual income. You're now covered your $34.95 a month being in business. So now you're basically in the business for free at this point. You have no monthly overhead. Therefore, the risk has been removed. You know how people say, oh, I spent all my money. They took all my money. I spent more money than I made. That can never be possible in Sherlock. I'm going to give you some numbers on why. Okay? It is impossible for you to spend more money than you make with shopping Sherlock. The cost of getting started is $249, right? And it's $34.95 a month. So you multiply that times 12. That's $419.40 plus $249. So for the whole year, the cost for the whole year, your first year, is $668. Okay? $668 for your first year. Your second year in business, it costs $419. And every year after that, that's the cost of you being in business. So let's just say you don't make a dime in your entire first year in business, and you pay $249 to sign up, and you're doing $34.95 a month. You don't make a dime, so you spent $668. Do you realize, just with the tax benefit alone, just the taxes alone, you came profit of $2,400? Well, you would have made 24. Let's subtract. Somebody's blowing me up here. Let's subtract the 668. That's $1,700 profits on average, because just having your own home-based business gets you tax breaks when you get that 1099 at the end of the year. And you report your earnings, and you'll report your expenses and your losses. Owning your own business has tremendous tax benefits in America. They encourage you to own your own business, because when people who own their own business, they're generating more income for the economy, and they may be hiring people, creating jobs. So you get a benefit. That's why rich people get richer. People who pay the most in taxes are people who have a 9-to-5 job. Look at that, what Moran said. $1,700 in getting tax back. I know, and I don't know who this guy's tax man is. I know a guy who makes more than $70,000 a month, right? And after he filed his taxes, his tax form showed that he earned $54,000 for the year. Whoa, wait a minute. Wait a minute. You make over $70,000 a month. Well, once he was done with all the deductions, he had to pay taxes on $54,000 when he made over $1 million. Are you kidding me? That's why the rich get richer and the poor stay poor. Poor paying 40% of their income going to taxes. The rich are paying like 12%, 10 to 12%, if that. You know what you're doing? Legally, mind you. I am in no way giving tax advice. I am not an expert. I'm only telling you the average home-based business gets about $1,000 a month back in tax benefits, whether you make a dime or not, if you report all your earnings accurately. So you can never say, I spent more money than I made in shopping Sherlock. But if you do these three things, That's even more. 200 Sherlock invites, you're in profit. You're going to have more than 200 or 20 people download the app if you do it the right way, following our training. So this is doing your part. And I want to get feedback from you guys. Is this something that each of you can do? Type Y in the chat box. Is this something that you can do? Because this is what you have control over. If you cannot do this, then you do need to go back to a 9-to-5 job. Or I promise you, you'll be spending more time and working much harder than you would to accomplish this. This is your job. This is your goal. Don't even look at anything else until this has been accomplished. Has step 1 been accomplished? Has step 2 been accomplished? Has step 3 been accomplished? If none of that has been accomplished, don't call me asking questions about Best in Social. Don't call me asking questions about the nonprofit, about the new loyalty programs, the compensation plan, and all that stuff. This is what you focus on, because none of that stuff matters unless you've done this. And this is what you want the new people on your team to focus on as well. And I am recording this so that you can share this with them when they first get started. In fact, I've done this training multiple times, and I already have this recorded somewhere. It's on the website. You can just pull up on YouTube, Shopping Sherlock, do your part. You'll find multiple videos. Now let me show you the compensation of what's going to happen if you, not only if you do this, but if you get good at training the new people on your team to do the same exact thing. Here's the compensation. And I'm going to go for 8 months, okay? I'm not going to go 8 weeks. I'm going to go 8 months. You know what? Scratch that. I'm going to go 16 months. 16 months. 16 months is going to come anyway. 16 months from now, we will be around the fall of 2016. So picture in your mind right now, what will you be doing in the fall of 2016 that's much different than what you're doing right now? What about your income? Will your income be about the same? Or was it the same 2 years ago? Yeah. So already have it established in your mind that that time is going to pass anyway. But what if you were able to add an extra $2,000 a month 16 months from now on top of whatever you're currently earning? That's an extra $24,000 a year. What would your life be like with an extra $24,000 a year 16 months from now? So here's what I mean. It takes you 60 days to find your first 2 people. 60 days to hit star affiliate. 60 days to expose this business to 10 people. Because if you put 10 people on my presentation, 10 guests, you will have at least 2 who sign up in the business. That's all it takes. The numbers game. But now you have those 2 new people, and they duplicate exactly what you do. And that's funny how things happen that way. Your team will duplicate exactly what you do. No more and far less. That's how it is. That's why they say speed of the leader, speed of the pack. When I told my story how I got 40 in the first week, if I took the slow route and if I signed up 1 or 2 my first night, I probably would have ended up with maybe 8 or 10 my first week in the business. And instead of 137 my first month, I probably would have ended up with maybe 25 to 30. Instead of 507 my first 60 days, I might have ended with 150 to 200, maybe. Speed of the leader, speed of the pack. So let's just say nobody's moving faster than you, but they're doing exactly what you do. So it takes those 2 people 60 days to sign up their first 2 people. So now you're 4 months in the game. And you have a grand total of 6 people on your team. Right? 6 people on your team in 4 months. You haven't made much money. But you continue being consistent, and everybody's still duplicating, getting 2 every 60 days. So you fast forward 16 months later. You know, 256 people on your team, and they're still duplicating it. That's an extra $2,000 a month. Would that be okay? An extra $2,000 a month, 16 months from now, because you're on the slow path and it takes you 60 days to find your first two. And it takes them 60 days to find their first two. And it takes them 60 days to find their first two. As a business person, you got to have this chart out in front of you. You got to map it out. You got to be able to see it in your mind. Know where the people are coming from. Know where the money's coming from. How to get the money. What do I have to do to get this money? Let's do it on the fast track. What if you do it in 8 weeks? You find two in your first week, two in their first week. You want to know why the women in Kazakhstan went from 1,000 a month to 14,000 a month? Because they're not doing 2 getting 2. They're doing 4 getting 4. They're popping power affiliates like star affiliates. 4 getting 4, getting 4, getting 4, getting 4. They're telling their people, you must get 4 people within the next 48 hours or you're not serious about the business. And that's exactly what they're doing. Speed of the leader, speed of the pack. She'll probably make over 20,000 next month. And then probably over 30,000 the following month at the pace they're going right now. Making more money in 1 month than she did 2 years on her job. Can you imagine that? 2 years worth of income in 1 month in your home-based business. But everybody moves at their own speed. Understand this is a marathon, not a sprint. Numbers are perfect. People are not. Let's fast forward here. I don't want to really go into much of this training, but be familiar with shoppingsherlock.com/your ID number. That is your home page where people can sign up for the Sherlock through their desktop right in the middle of the screen. This home page you're going to start to see have a major upgrade as well. One thing, just to let you guys know that we've already expressed that we don't currently like is to sign up in the business. Somebody has to hit this affiliates tab at the top, and it's hard for people to really find and understand. We need to make it more pronounced. And people don't realize that there's videos on this page. If you scroll down, there's a video. They go to the second page, there's another video. I actually kind of like a little bit better when we first joined. The website on the front page had the video that played when you first logged on, has step 1, step 2, step 3. Kind of you have it here. Step 1, sign up for the product. Step 2, enter your product. Step 3, start savings. Kind of like that. So be familiar with this page. You also want to be familiar with invitation. Let me put this in the chat box. not www, depends on the country. http://invitation.shoppingsherlock.com/your ID number. That's where you go. People can download the app to their phone, or they can register on their computer. Every single one of you has your own capture page. Invitation.shoppingsherlock.com/your ID number. So once they go to that page, whether they have a iPhone or an Android, this is what the page looks like when they click on that button to install it. People don't know that they can install an app to their phone from their computer, because especially if you have an Android, Google is attached to your phone has it, so it recognizes, you know, your phone number, so it's going to download it directly to your phone. The app itself, I need to update this because we have some new things on here. You want to get your 200. Here's the fastest way to get your 200 invites. There's 2 ways I want you to do this. One, pulling out your phone, opening up the app, click on invite friend, and then invite via text message. And then send a text message invite to 200 to 500 people on your phone. That's the fastest way. The alternate way is by using Facebook. But you have to do this through your desktop. So you go to your desktop homepage, click on the button on the right that says, what does that say again? log in. I don't know how to go to it through the computer. Let me log into it. All right, it says grow your network. On the right hand side, you see get in touch, USA, grow your network. So you click on grow your network, and you're going to come to a page that looks like this. Invite users and map. The map's going to show where all of your customers are. Invite users, you can invite them through email or Facebook. I will use Facebook. Email always last because people don't read their emails. Sometimes they may have their email set up where things you send them will go to their spam folder anyway. So knock out your 200 invites that way. It looks like this when you click on, for your Facebook friends. That's your map to track all of your customers. This is the invitation.shoppingsherlock.com / your ID number. I'll go through this just real quick. This is what I said again is the numbers game. Here's how to earn 4 figures a month without signing anybody up in the business, just by doing your 200 invites. And this is when the loyalty program is really going to kick into play. This is going to be probably more important by the end of this year and going into 2016. But just let me show you why. Let's say you knock out your 200 invites. 10% of them download the app. You have 20 customers. Well, guess what? All of your customers can also invite their friends and family. Why would they do so? Well, if they save money, they're going to want their friends and family to save money as well. So we incentivize them. We give them bonuses and credits for inviting friends. So let's say, and I already know we're going to do this, they're going to get a special bonus if they invite 200 people, whether they download it or not. That's over 4,000 invites. 10% download, you now have 400 customers, Sherlock customers. Those 400 people are going to do the same thing. They're going to be incentivized to invite their friends and family to use the app. So now 400 people invite 200 people each. That's 80,000 invites. 10% download, that's 8,000 customers. And this keeps going. 160,000 customers. So currently, and this is an old slide, when I made this, the Sherlock was paying out $2.20. Today it's $2.32. Let's go with $2.20. Let's say you have 2 active Sherlock customers. That's $4.40 a month. Not a lot of money. Let's say you have 40 active Sherlock customers. $88 a month. Let's say you have 800 active customers. $1,700 a month. What if you had 16,000 active customers? That's $35,000 a month. Well, and it's just hitting me right now. There's something that Michael Weeder said, and I used it in the slides in the presentation last night, where he talked about China as an example. And he said China, 0.1% means that Sherlock would have 540,000 customers just in China alone. 540,000 is nothing in China where there's over 1 billion people. 540,000 doesn't even register on their radar screen. That's 0.1%. But if 16,000 customers is generating 35,000 a month, what do you think 540,000 customers is going to do? This is, you think like a CEO, a boss, the owner of the company. The numbers are just staggering. But you get that piece of the pie. You have 16,000 active reps, $35,000 a month. Another thing that blows the CEO away, and I can see it because he gets, when you talk to him, he gets real excited when he starts talking about certain things. And he was talking about, he was at the Eric Worre GoPro event with Les Brown a couple of weeks ago. And he was sitting at a table at a company called Nu Skin with the top 3 money earners in that company, all of them making more than $1 million a year. And he was telling one woman's story. She was with Amway for like 10 years, made no money. She joined Nu Skin for the first 2 or 3 years, didn't make any money. But she didn't quit. She stayed with it. The company hit massive growth, and she went from like $2,000 a month to well over $60,000-$70,000 a month, almost overnight. And she's making over or 1.25 million a year, and the company's doing 400 million this year, or yeah, about 400 million. Oh, they're doing more than that now. They're in the billions. But one thing Michael said was, he said, you guys gotta, when you look at our compensation plan, when we as a company, right now we're a $15 to $20 million company. When we're at $400 million, the top leaders in our company are going to be making 30 to 40 million a year. You guys understand what I'm saying there? 30 to 40 million a year. That's 2.5 to $3 million or $4 million a month. Currently, Amway, Organo Gold have the top money earners in the world, earning over 1.3 to 1.4, 1.5 million a month. Sherlock is going to be having the highest paid members in the entire industry. But like I said, this is a marathon, not a sprint. It's not going to happen now where the company has less than 20,000 active reps, maybe less than 15,000 active reps. It's going to happen 3 to 4 years from now when the company has over 100,000 active reps, then 500,000, then 1 million active reps. And since this is a binary, those people are going to come through your organizations. Now, let me say this. All references to income implied or stated through this document and the Sharpie comp plan does not guarantee any level of income or earnings to any affiliate. Earnings from the Sharpie comp plan depend solely on web app usage, sales, and each affiliate's skill, ability, and personal application. Now, I did a video today, and the video was called the top 3 industries in network marketing. And I'll pull it out so I'll give you guys the link. But I want to fast forward to our industry and why it's so important, and the reason why I am here is because the future of our industry is in technology, whether you like it or not. Bill Gates said there's going to be only 2 types of businesses out there: businesses doing business on the internet, or businesses going out of business. It's like the old Blockbuster Video or Hollywood Video going up against Netflix when Netflix first got started. Do you think they saw Netflix as a threat? No. They didn't take Netflix serious. They even had a famous boardroom meeting about it. And one of the guys said, guys, we have the resources to do what Netflix is doing right now. We already have the video database. And they ran the numbers and saw how much it was going to cost to do so. And the board said, no. People like going into the store. People like looking at the videos on the shelves and buying the popcorn. They like doing that when they get off work. They like that experience. And it's been working for us. And they made billions on that. But times were changing. Why go after work and try to rush to Blockbuster when they only have a limited amount of new releases on the shelf and hope that out of the 50,000 people in your city, it's not already taken, right? Unless you ordered it beforehand because you're a preferred customer. Well, you can just go home, turn on your TV, and bam, you've got it right there. And you've got far more selection. They dropped the ball. Radio Shack dropped the ball. They did not adapt. Howard Schultz. When you look at the owner of Starbucks, I made this video and it's on our website. Back in January of 2014, he was ringing the alarms. He was sounding the bells. screaming at his highest lungs to whoever can listen that a sea change is taking place in the commerce industry called e-commerce. Now, why would Howard Schultz, who owns a coffee company, be talking about internet and technology? Because he looked at the numbers from 2013 and he looked at, wow, Starbucks didn't make as much money as projected as last quarter. Why? So he looked at why not? Why were people not going into the Starbucks? Because more and more people found it more convenient to shop online at home than go to the stores. And what do people do when they go to the stores? They stop off at Starbucks, they get that coffee, and then they go shopping. But since people weren't going shopping, they weren't stopping off at the store. So Howard Schultz is sounding the alarm to his buddies that own all these other stores. Hey guys, if you don't make a change, you're not going to be in business for long. You got to look at what billionaires are doing first. They see things before everybody else does. And every single billionaire out there is making moves. It's all of us that don't realize what's going on until it's way too late. I was one of them. I didn't even understand the full concept of e-commerce until I joined Shopping Sherlock, and I feel guilty for not understanding it. You know, ignorance is bliss. You don't know what you don't know, and it's worse not to not even know that you don't know something. That's the worst thing. You're just walking around just plain old ignorant. But that's also the state we're in our industry. Why it's most difficult for us at the same time, because people are not looking for Shopping Sherlock right now. People don't understand the power of where we are positioned and what we have to offer. They're not seeing where this is going to be the next 5 years from now. And that's okay. Those of you who do will be wealthy. But you've got to put in the work now. You just can't be a part of the team. You've got to be the driving force. Imagine having 50% of the company in your organization, and the company becomes a $5 billion company. Can you imagine that? Bill Britt did not join Amway until 5 years after Amway got started. The person, and a lot of people don't like me to say this, but the person who's going to make the most money in Shopping Sherlock does not even know this company exists. They don't even know the name of this company. They're doing something else right now. And they're going to join in a couple of years from now, and they're going to make more money than everybody else. The question is, will that individual fall in your downline or somebody else's? Because as I told you about Kazakhstan, a gentleman who had nothing to do with Kazakhstan is making over $20,000 a month because of Kazakhstan, because they fell in his organization. What if Mexico falls in your downline? What if Brazil falls in your downline? What if Canada falls in your downline? What if China falls in your downline? What if you had China in one leg and Japan in the other leg? Wow. What if you had India when India becomes viable? It's going to happen. But it's going to be up to you to make sure that you're positioned for it to happen. The first part has been done. You're here. The second thing is, are you going to do your part? And that is the training tonight, guys. This was recorded, so as soon as it's uploaded, I will get it out to you. But I will end, as I always end the mindset trainings on Saturday nights, with focus on the goal and not the task. I watch this video at least 3 times a week. Even though, you know what? No. I'm going to change it up. I'm going to change it up. Let me pull this video up. And I listened to this the other day, and I had not listened to it in about a month. And I feel guilty because I used to listen to this once a week. I'm going to play for you a Jim Rohn video. And it's part 2 of this video. This is what I got the most. Part 1 is great too. But part 2, let's see. This is something that I used to listen right before I went to sleep. So this is an hour long, so you don't have to sit and wait for this. I'll even put the video link right here in the chat box so you can watch it later. But I'm going to play it right now because I need to get my fix in. So I'm going to be listening to it right now as well. So thank you guys for joining us tonight. I hope you got a lot from this training. But more importantly, I hope you really start to focus on making sure you do your part and then teach others on your team how to do the same thing, and that you don't let the month of March go by without doing your part. We're going on a vacation this week. We're going to Jamaica and the Cayman Islands with Sherlock, so I'm going to be out of the box for about a week and a half. This is a much needed vacation that I need. But when I come back, I'm coming back on fire. I've already recruited 15 people over the last 65 days or so. I'm coming back on fire. I want to get to that $50,000 a month range. You guys want to be positioned. So here is the video. Thank you guys for joining us. Have a fantastic evening. God bless and good night. Bye-bye.
Working on